were on the set with him for more than a decade, working very closely with him. At no time did you ever see anything inappropriate?
What I saw was fun. Never anything inappropriate. What I saw was work and play at work and fun. Mrs. Cosby was a frequent visitor to the studio. She was there a lot.
Now you deal with another sad situation, Bill Cosby. How many years were you on that show?
8 years.
How old were you?
13. We started, I was 13.
You said he was a mentor to you. I knew Bill very well, interviewed him many times, spent a lot of time with him. Has this been difficult for you?
Yeah. Because when you watch someone who you know and love, go through what he's going through, it's difficult not to, not to feel something, have some kind of emotional response to, what this person is going through.
Have you spoken to him?
Yeah. Yeah. This whole, just the way the whole story has come about, and when you've done so much wonderful, so many wonderful things for so much of your career, and after having had such a long path and long journey, you have something like this that you've got to contend with.
You forgive if it's true?
We'll never know. I don't think any of us will never know what the truth is. So he gave me, amongst the millions of things I've learned from him, he gave me a real sense of how to handle celebrityhood and living in the public eye.
What legacy has he left with you? You'll always be Theo Huxtable, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean, that show will last forever.
Still shows.
Yeah, yeah, and still, that show holds such an importance because it really changed the scope of how Black America and white America and the world, for that matter, saw Black people.
Because when you have family, people falter, people make mistakes, things happen, but in no way is that condoning sexual assault. As a woman, a graduate of Spelman College, which is an all-women's college, my foundation, the Camp Kizzy Foundation, all about empowerment and self-esteem for youth, and being the mother to a daughter, it's nothing that I take lightly or that I condone in any way, shape, or form, but he's still a person. He's still a father, a husband, a parent, someone's son.
Did you learn anything in the course of the trial? Obviously, the jury is out, and we don't know what the jury will decide, but there was evidence in the trial in which Mr. Cosby acknowledges, for example, giving drugs to women that he wanted to have sexual relations with. When you hear that, how do you square that with the person that you know?
Well, what I can say is I was there for the opening arguments for both the prosecution and the defense. I didn't hear the testimony which you're specifically speaking to, but what I do know is the judge was very adamant that the jury's job, and it's not ours because we don't hear all of the evidence, but they're the ones who are going to hear every piece, every shred of evidence, and it's for them to make a decision, not based on bias or anything else except for the facts of the case. So,
if Bill Cosby's made $1 billion, which he have, Ed Weinberger have made $10 billion. The money is in writing. You see, when you hit white supremacy, Bill Cosby, see, most folks don't understand white supremacy. White supremacy is not Ku Klux Klan or white citizen. White supremacy is the high. And my problem is the president of General Motors and AT&T and Boeing Aircraft and Harvard and Yale. That's the problem. Those are the ones that determine public policy. And so consequently, when you stop and think about that, Bill Cosby didn't understand white supremacy because Bill Cosby said, I want to buy NBC, and NBC was for sale. And he had the credentials and the money and the credit worthiness to get it.
Right.
And that's all at once. He said, what? And then all at once his son come up. Now let's look at his son's death. His son was driving on the highway in California, okay? He has a flat tire, okay? He comes off and they say he get robbed. Man, in the old stagecoach days, you could stand out there Wells Fargo with the horses and rob them. Who in their right mind going to be on the highway to rob somebody in a car? So all at once, that car got a flat tire, and it came off the highway. And he called this white woman that showed up to help him change the flat. She had on a mink coat, a mini skirt, and high heel shoes. So that sounds like, now what Bill Cosby knows that few people know is that that was one of the upscales Mercedes, and if you had a flat, you just pushed the button and it changed its own tire. Okay. Now they told us that it wasn't robbery. Hello, he had $6,000 cash. They said he had his credit cards and his cell phone. 9 months later, they arrest a Russian immigrant and said he did it. And then when we check it out, we find out that Russian immigrant was in Mexico City that night. I'm just telling you how it works and how they do things and how I dare you. You better behave yourself.
Bill Cosby's a good man. I love Bill Cosby. He's my brother too. He's older than Mike Dyson. He's a senior. He's paid some dues. And we're all evolving. He may have said at one time that he's not a spokesperson for the hurt of his people. You know, don't bring that to me. He speaks through a different medium. He's the Cosbys. He's trying to show us we're functional families rather than dysfunctional families. And he has some control over the script, and so he writes things in. He has Malcolm's picture behind him in some of the scenes. He's trying to do his part where he is.